it's all about telling the story of that artifact so that that story doesn't get lost and it's not just, oh, hey, guitar. We want to keep telling those stories and bringing those stories to life. One of the things as a media psychologist that I keep hearing this week here at this show is all about perception. I keep hearing people throw the word out, perception, perception, perception. And that's part of what we're talking about here today as well as perception. But for me, it's not about changing perception of what VR is. For me, perception is all about taking in information through the senses, the brain processing that information and having some sort of outcome with either conscious awareness or subconscious awareness or perception. So while studying augmented reality and augmented reality usage in mobile phones out in the real world, I've always been attracted to the idea of attention. What is it that draws our attention? How do we perceive augmented reality elements in the real world? And at the same time, it's always scared me because I see a lot of AR and VR being developed with not a lot of future thought into what happens if I use this to the person who's using it. There's a lot of spaghetti theory, right? We build it, we throw it against the wall, see if it sticks, see if people like it, and we move on. But that has consequences, which is why in media psychology we're studying the heck out of this stuff so that you guys can know what to do with it that's proper and it won't cause any particular issues. Again, utilizing theories from offline, the world of psychology, I did a research project, first of its kind, on augmented reality and selective attention. So while using an augmented reality mobile application, could I sustain your attention and look for certain specific perceptual effects of selective attention? So I'm going to play this. This is what my research is based on. If you've seen this video in the past, please don't spoil it for anyone else. Probably quite a few. It's very popular. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just follow along with the instructions. You can mute it. You
Just
don't
think about the elephant in the room.
That's fine. You don't need the audio. How many passes? 16. 16. 15. But did you see the goal? This is the theory of inattentional blindness. So whenever I guide your attention to a specific thing, in this case, the passing of the basketball, but it could be as simple as what I did was just very simple elements moving around a screen in an augmented reality application in a lab setting with a floor-to-ceiling video playing on a screen showing a real-world setting with people moving about in the background. And then during that counting task, during the critical trial, having a person in a gorilla suit walk across that video. How many people saw the video, or saw the gorilla in the video here? Okay. Have you seen it? How many of those have seen it before? Okay. Now, those people, keep your hands down. Those who have just seen it for the first time, who didn't see the video? Who didn't see the gorilla? Did not see the gorilla. If you've not seen this video before. Person. Okay.
One honest person.
One honest person. So yeah, actually, doing studies on this very type of thing, we found that about 20% of the people who don't see it won't admit to it. So 20% of you people are not telling the truth. Anyway, but just
ask me where my glasses are.
Oh yeah, yeah. How many? At 107 participants we had in this study using the augmented reality application, what do you think the percentage was that did not see the gorilla? As plain as day, giant, full-size gorilla walking right in front of them with a live camera view. 60%. 60%. So now you guys are building AR and VR and putting it out in the real world. Better be careful.
I think what's important about this in particular, and this came up in some other panels on virtual reality, was the notion of focus and directing focus as well. As storytellers, directors, writers, we are intentionally trying to create or direct a point of view. So how does that get changed and altered with this new media? I'd love to ask you and
right, so we can see from my study that I can draw your attention in to the point where you will lose focus on other things that should be very blatantly obvious. And so when you take that out of the real world and you're using some really cool augmented reality app for, I don't know, navigation, you want to make sure that there's some sort of elements in there that causes a break from that virtual experience, so that person doesn't walk out in front of a bus because they're too engaged in that activity. Or you've created a really cool new video game where they've got to run around the real world and collect things, but you want to make sure that you don't immerse them so much that they enter the flow state, because if you enter a flow state, you lose track of everything going on around you. And inattentional blindness becomes a very serious concern. Anybody got kids in the room that play video games?
Yeah, no.
5 minutes. Okay, Mom. 20 minutes later. Hey, what? Did you not hear me? No. What? 5 minutes, 20 minutes ago. Oh, okay, 5 minutes. Right? This is the flow state, and it's very, very easy to get into, and it's not easy to disrupt when you're there. So these are the things that we have to consider, and we do every day, and it scares the hell out of us as media psychologists. So we have to consider these things when we're designing the next great app and the next great experience. So we need to make sure that we're considering the perceptual issues that go along with it. And it's not just attention. Some of the studies are now showing that the brain is always evolving, but now we're starting to see that the amount of screen time that some of the younger generations are having is actually affecting the neural pathway development. Not that it's causing problems with it, but it's just changing the pathways and making them go in different ways than they've gone in the past. And it's not everybody,
Thank you.
but
I'll
we're
have a
starting
little
to see
something to
it.
say about that later in particular, and the screens and the use of screens. The fear, what I call fear of screens. Okay, but I'd like to move along to introduce